lounging, son.
All right, welcome back to the Comic Lounge. Back with me again, I got Matt King. I think last year, probably, about Tales to Enlighten, that it had already been backed by Kickstarter. You got the second one up now. I think there's 2 weeks left as of, when we're recording this. Super stoked to finally have you back on. I know that we've been trying to get this going, so I'm glad we both could connect while the Kickstarter was live this time. So welcome back.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Yeah. 2 more weeks. Yeah. As of today. So I think it's Monday, the 3rd is the Monday, October 3rd is when we wrap up. So
yeah, dude.
I appreciate the push.
Oh, of course, dude. And it's like, you have a lofty goal, it's not everybody that, a lot of the guys in the group, right? Like a lot of them do Kickstarters. Your goal is probably the highest that I've seen, but it got so much. And there's a reason that it is. I mean,
sure. Let me just talk quickly about that. Yeah. I was talking to Craig and Rocco, and one of them was saying, like, you're really pushing big numbers or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, you're pushing a 30-page book for $10. I'm pushing a 550-page book, for $52. It's relative. It's like the exact same. They were looking for 4,000. I'm looking for 20,000. If you do the math, it's the same thing,
Yeah. I mean, that first book was a beast,
Dude.
And the artists you had in there, fucking dope. And now you have like a group of new people coming in. So let's just talk, like, how did from the first book, it being said, I know you told me, I don't want to speak out of turn, but did you break even? I know you ate some of the costs on that one, right? Okay.
No, wait. It's all right though.
All right.
Because I tell everybody, like, I'm not doing this to make money.
Yeah.
Would I like to break even? Absolutely. But it's not there yet. Maybe with the next printing, so my vision is for these books, it's just too big for the math doesn't work, It's okay though. But the first book was 300 and something pages, just over 300 pages. One central story, one backup story, 100 pinups from different artists. So, it added up, but the idea was I kept getting people to do backup stories for the first book. And then I was like, I can't do a 500-page book. That's ridiculous. So I'm like, let me move those, like, say 10 backup stories into a second book. I'll write a few more stories and package it as a second volume, an anthology. But it quickly grew out of control, and it's another 500-page book, which I really should split into 2. But I can't ask people to wait. Like, a lot of people gave me reduced fees. A lot of people did stuff for free. A lot of people I paid their page rate. But like, I just want to get it all out there. My OCD is suffering because I want the books to be the same width, but whatever.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I'm the same way, dude. I hate when stuff doesn't match on the shelves. Like one will be just like a little bit taller or whatever. It's just weird to me. But
and the thing is, I'm so into that the designer my buddy Travis Hunchback. So we designed. I said, let's design the book spines for 1 and 2 together, so we know where we can add. The name of the second book is Tales to Enlighten, the New Testament. So let's leave room so they line up perfect, etc. And we did that, but then I went and fucked it out by putting in too many pages.
Yeah. So you, for everybody listening, watching, if they haven't picked up the first book, can you give just like a little bit of like an elevator pitch, almost like what the book is about, what this new one is? So
originally the book was going to be kind of a parody of Son of Satan and Machine Man. Yeah. It was going to be like it was going to be originally a bootleg comic. The artist, James Edward Clark, my favorite artist, or at least one of my very favorite artists, I got him involved. He suggested, like, let's make it different enough that we can actually sell this without getting our ass sued. Mm-hmm. So the idea is the grandson of Satan and Manfred the Man Machine, 2 buddies, they want to reach enlightenment. They have a machine that Satan built that if you collect 666 severed heads of superpowered super individuals, it'll transport you to enlightenment. And the twist is enlightenment isn't perfect knowledge combined with infinite compassion, but it's a nightclub called Enlightenment, where they meet their spiritual guru Teaches them a whole lot of lessons about being a better person. Don't be a dick. They fight Satan in the end. He pulls out a mutant fire-breathing sentient penis, kills him, and then we pick up in the second book from there.
If that doesn't make you guys want to buy this book, I don't know what the fuck will. And
Yeah.
I know that I had you do that you gave me that description. The minute you said it, I mean I already remembered it. Totally vibing off 70s like Marvel stuff, right? But just in case nobody watched the first interview, I just want to make sure that everybody kind of knew what to expect from this new one. So you already had the stories, some of them, right? Going into this one.
So I had about 10 of the stories written. Most of them were drawn, though some people, hadn't turned in the art yet. And then I wrote like another 20. There's like 32 stories in here in this anthology.
Is James in any of this as well?
James came back for the first 4 pages, like an intro to bridge. It literally picks up the next day. In the very last page of the first book, they fly off in Jesus's / Megatrip spaceship flying turntable machine thing. And then we start off the second book. It's like the next morning. And James does the first 4 pages. So I reached out to him because he was pretty much done after the first book. He has other projects to work on, and I'm sure he was sick of my nonsense. So my idea was there's a backup story in the first book where Manfred, the robot character, works in a record store. So my idea was basically that in the record store, they find a box of comics way back in the back room. And then they look through the comics, and those comics are the stories in this book. But so I talked to James, and James, like, without me even telling him, came up with pretty much the same idea, except it starts off, they wake up in the morning, instead of doing the record store thing, it's like after they all had like an orgy. So I was like, okay, that works.
So how did you go about picking I know a lot of the guys are from the CKRS group, but you also, much like the first one with your pinups, there's a lot of artists I wasn't familiar with. And there's a few that are doing some of the stories with you. So like, how did you go about deciding who you felt would kind of mesh with this type of book?
Sure. So it's mostly people I've just found online, either through the Facebook group. There's a good handful of them,
A lot,
Yeah, I mean, we had Tony Farrow came in. Let me just read off my list here. Tony Sidani, Johan Peterson, Erwin Papa, all these guys, Chris Anderson, they're all, very active in the group. So, but, some of them I met before, this was years ago, before I had there was a group. So, but it's just like, I really like their art. And then if I could think of a story that would complement their style, I would just ask them and find out what their page rate was, or, in Tony Sidani's case, or Ryan Miller, they were like friends of mine I knew from doing shows, and they just wanted to contribute and be part of it, and, glad to have them. And people like Shaky Kane, which I know you're a fan of.
That's pretty dope. Yeah.
I just reached out to him through the Facebook Messenger and said, what's your page rate? Will you do 10 pages? And made it happen,
That's pretty dope. Yeah, I know he was really like, I think when I reached out to him to do the interview for Wizard, the magazine, super like responded very quickly and was super nice about it. I even told him, like, it's gonna be a while before it sees print, so don't think that like I'm ignoring this or like forgetting about it. But yeah, I mean, even the pinup I just saw you post, I think it was yesterday, Ramon Villalobos, like that was a pretty dope pickup too.
So I've been following Ramon for years on Tumblr before. I'm not gonna say before he was big, but before people really knew about him, and I got like a bunch of commissions or original art for like, what I'll call next to nothing compared to his prices now. And I just stayed in touch, and I had actually paid him for a commission that like just kept getting pushed back. And I was like, how about you just do a pinup instead? He's like, yeah, let's just do that. And then I reached out to him this time, and he was still up for it. So I don't know. I haven't bugged him enough yet, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, so let's get into some of the stories. I don't want to spoil too much, but you want to run down a couple of of the stories and kind of like maybe the thoughts behind because I mean it's an anthology, so it's completely different. Like you said, you're jumping through a bunch of different styles.
Right.
I think I said this before we recorded. You sent me the PDF, but I'm refusing to read it. I want to wait till I get that massive book in my hand.
I love it.
But I mean, just going through it, it's like there's so many different art styles, but they all fit, you know. And I think it's pretty dope. Like you said, Tony Farrow. I was really excited that he was coming in because I love his stuff, and I'm still waiting for the next issue of all his stuff coming out. So
he's great. So basically, James was going to do, like I said, they find a box of comics in the first 4 pages, and those are the stories. Those comics are the stories in the book. And he just didn't have time in his schedule, or didn't want to do it. I wanted to do the first 4 pages, then jump back like a third of the way into the book, show 2 more pages of them still looking, make a little commentary about today's market, go another third of the book. There's another 2 pages. And then the end was 2 pages. And James just didn't have time in his schedule. So Tony took over that bit, was what we call the framing sequence, where we keep coming back to the present. But the idea of the anthology is, my tagline is basically, it's like sequels, prequels, side stories, and spinoffs. So it's just all these same characters, but just like fleshing them out a little more, expanding the universe. And so, yeah, I could definitely talk about any of these guys. And I have a list of like 32 guys. I'm not going to go through them all, of course, but
yeah,
you know. So let me just start at the back, because when I've done other interviews, I feel like the people in the back don't, you know, when we look at artwork and stuff, it's like, okay, the interview's over because it's time's up. But like, I haven't talked about some of these guys.
Yeah,
so sure. The very last story is this kid from Norway, Christopher Koltzau. It's C Koltzau on Instagram. And we do a story where we explain how Jesus got his fire-breathing member. It's like they've time traveled so many times that nothing makes sense. Like Jesus is around in the Garden of Eden, which, you know, of course couldn't happen, but since they've time traveled so much, it works out. But so he did like I think it was like 12 pages. Yeah, I'm not sure how many pages. It was like 12 or 13 pages, but he's got like this very neon style and stuff. People should really look him up. He's very cool. And then, you know, totally opposite, there's like Johan Petersen from Denmark. You know his work, Bill Nash.
Yeah.
So he's got that very kind of rudimentary, like outsider art style. You know, I had him do some. So he was one of the originals for the backup stories in book 1. That got shifted. Okay. It's like it was like a 3-part secret origin story of how Jesus goes to be like this cosmic space god, more of a Buddhist. And the first part is done by MC Wolfman, who has a very, so I did because I just want to make everything hard for everybody and myself. It was like a 3-part origin story. MC Wolfman's story was like done as a romance comic. I like tried to replicate like 1960s romance comics. Okay. And then Johan Petersen did the second part. It's like a crime story, but it's, you know, he's all black and white art, which we took and we changed the black lines to like a purple, like mimeographed, you know, like nice. like a bootleg manga kind of thing with the purple line, you know, that like bat manga kind of look, that Batman manga stuff. So he did that, and he did a few pages of that, and he didn't have a scanner at the time, so he had to mail me the artwork, and it was fun. It was crazy to work with some of these guys. You know, we're so international. Like a lot of these guys, a lot of stuff gets lost in translation, and which actually makes it almost more fun. Like I had to do some corrections on Johan's, you know, English, because that's a second language for him. Yeah. You know, and then, you know, so like I said, he doesn't have a scanner, so he had to write the corrections down, mail it to me. We photoshopped it back in and stuff. So it was fun. I mean, it's a ton of work doing this book. It's like, I'll never, ever do anything like this again, you know.
Did you say that after the first book though?
I did.
Yeah.
But this time I mean it.
Okay.
But, you know, it's like 30 plus story artists, and then another 100 pinup artists. Plus my brother is involved making fake ads again, all that design work.
I really like that last one too. That was dope.
My buddy Travis Duda, who helps me lay out the book and like get everything print ready, has been doing some stuff. And then I met this kid online, Simon Maggots on Instagram, Jeff Robertson, who was just kind of reached out to me and said how much he liked the book. And especially all the design elements. I was telling him how my brother, who has like 3 kids and a family, like just can't do all the work that I want him to do. And he's like, well, let me pitch in. So he's been making design pages. He helped me letter a whole story.
Wow.
Yeah, good guy, makes his own comics. He was just down at SPX. I guess he was killing it down there with all his zines and stuff. He has a company, Contrabrand Media, where they do Kickstarters and release stuff. It's a very good guy. It was, super funny. He lives in Canada, and he was going to SPX. Him and his wife were driving down to SPX, and I had ordered some comics from him, and he looked at my address, and then he punched it in the GPS, and I was actually on the route. So he just stopped by my house. Like, this is the weirdest thing. Yeah, he's like totally from another, it's not, it's Canada. It's not like, I get it, it's another country, but like, it was just happened to be on his route to SPX and stop in. It was wild. It was just for like an hour, got to talk comics because, outside of doing things like this with you or, I don't really talk to anybody in my real life other than, typing a lot, sure. But like conversing, even at the comic book store, I'm at a new comic book store now pretty much for the last few years. And some of the customers from the old store are there and I'll talk to them a lot, but I don't know a lot of the regulars at this other store. And I don't feel like, revealing what a nerd I am.
I totally get that, dude. That's the one reason why, even though I'm working 40+ hours at that kitchen, I couldn't leave the comic shop completely. I still, and they didn't have to let me say, I literally work 4 hours a week on Wednesdays after I'm done at the kitchen. And, I love the interaction. But I'm the same way. Like, I don't really have anybody in my personal life. So it's like, I talk to you, other people from the group, again, typing, or if I'm recording a chat, it's partly because I like pushing everybody's work. And second, I really like talking comic books with other people because nobody in my life collects fucking comics unless I'm at the shop, so
right.
That's what I love about this book too, like seeing the collection of people and the community within the CKRS community, like all the people that you're bringing in, that you're using your platform of the book, right, you're writing stuff to kind of spotlight all these people that I know, people that I don't know, and then maybe people that are just looking for comics on Kickstarter, which I feel like a lot of people are doing now, right? Maybe they check you out and that leads them to other people's stuff. So I just think it's really dope what you're doing.
And that's part of it is like a narcissistic kind of like, let me bring in everybody, I can do it sort of thing. And another part of it is like, if there's 100 pages of pinups, I don't expect you to read all these stories and then just look at every page, like you would read a book, look at a few, put it down, come back to it another day, look at a few more, take it all in, because there's like I said, another 100 pinups, and there's at least a dozen guys from the CKRS group doing pinups and stuff, Kevin Catalin's in there, who's great, Robin Bougie, all sorts of guys, Craig CK, Dan Moeller. I mean, it's a huge list. So, but
yeah, dude, I'm super stoked. I'm super stoked for everybody to get the book. So let's talk, like after the Kickstarter is done, like how long everything's done, obviously already, right?
Yeah.
Like unlike some people that do Kickstarters and their shit's not done. So when can we expect the book in print? Like, I know the print's been, like, getting stuff printed has been very hectic. I know just working in a shop, like even the major publishers are having a hard time getting stuff out. So have you been like researching any of that? Are you seeing a kind of drag in that as well?
Oh, there's definitely a drag in that. Last time we ran the campaign April for all April, April ended May 1st, I think. So the campaign ended May 1st and we had books out by the end of August, which was a great turnaround when I think when the shit was coming from Korea, but this time, just with all the the paper shortage, the increase of the freight stuff. I mean, the price for this book to get it printed. I mean, yes, the book is almost twice as big. So I mean, I did that to myself, but the price of freight and printing have gone up astronomically, and just the time. They told me it would be 3 to 4 months from the time I paid them. The campaign ends at the beginning of October, November, December, January. So February, maybe shipping. That's what I'm hoping. You know, that's best case scenario, really. So I think I put expected delivery on the campaign is like March 2023, which seems like so far away right now. But
yeah, I mean, it'll be here before we know it.
That's all out of my hands. You know, it's like I do it. You know, the best I can do is have the book completely 100% print ready to go, which I've done. And as soon as the campaign ends, I think it's like 2 weeks before Kickstarter gives you the money. As soon as I get the money, I'll send it to the printer and get the wheels in motion. You know, the whole supply chain is fucked. You know.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, people fucking.
It's coming back, but it's gonna take a while before everything levels out again. You know.
Yeah, maybe Marvel and DC need to stop printing so many fucking variants, and then
they're gonna do whatever makes them money. They're gonna do. It's not gonna depend whether Matt King needs paper. You know, if they're gonna print less variants, because
it's just insane. The level of waste. You know, just I don't know. I could go off on variants. What's next after this? Are you taking a break? Are you already planning to do something?
I tell everybody I'm taking a break.
Is that true though?
I don't know. I've outlined and note carded out a third book, like is another single story, not an anthology. And like you said about breaking even, you know, it's like I'm gonna be in the hole on this one too. It's like how much. Yes, the idea is Ben Granoff. I'm quoting him all the time now because I saw him on a podcast and he was talking about, you know, are we in this for capitalistic, you know, success and Eisner Awards? Or are we in this for creative fulfillment? And, you know, for me, it's totally the latter. It's all about creative fulfillment, you know, like getting my ideas out there in some shape or form. And, but I can't pay to do that all the time. You know what I mean? I can't sink a ton of money. So that it depends on that, you know, gotta pay an artist, of course, you know, and I'm paying everybody up front. The one artist I really wanted to work with, Oleg Green, does a story for me, does kind of the main opening story in this book. He's from Russia, and with the sanctions and stuff, I can't even, you know, pay him if I wanted to, you know. So I don't know what we're gonna do, but I definitely have a story in mind. I don't know. As far as what I just tell everybody I'm retiring. That's it.
Have you thought about ever just doing smaller things, or do you only want to do 300 plus page books?
That's the thing. I should be doing it in issues, right? And then collecting the issues. But I just like jump to the final vision of what I want on my shelf, and you know, to my detriment.
I get it.
So it probably would be a smart idea to break it into 5 or 6 issues or whatever, and then maybe collect it. That way, you know, you can make money twice off some people. And again, I'm not in it for the money though. I'm not thinking like that, but.
Oh, I meant just maybe not even like the third book, but like maybe other things. Or do you have other ideas that you maybe want to do?
I got a couple. I talked to Tony Sedani about a bootleg Batman story. You know, we didn't really talk about it. He said he wanted to do one, and I came up with an idea, and then I wouldn't tell him what it was because I don't want to do it right now, and he doesn't have time to do it right now. So let's not even talk about it. But I have an idea for it.
All right. Cool,
but other than that, I'd rather just stick with telling stories in this kind of Tales to Enlighten universe.
All right. I mean, I definitely think that, you know, obviously, like you can't do a book 3 in single issues because I think, you know, like you've already done 2 that are straight to trade. So you'd have to do the third one. But, you know, maybe doing one-offs, you know, like just like a one-off story after your third book or something, or maybe
like they did, like they did with All Time Comics when Shaky Kane did that, like kind of one-off afterwards. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I probably have another 160-page story like on note cards all stacked up, and I had it all over my desk for months. And then I was like, you know what? How long am I going to leave this on my desk? So I stacked it all up and stuck it in the closet, and I guess focus on getting this one out, and then, you know, figuring out what's next after that.
And how do you, because you have a full-time job, right? So how do you, I'm just curious, how do you manage your time? Because like I know for me, sometimes I have a hard time managing like doing other things that aren't my full-time job, you know,
Well,
especially
you have a family though, right?
yeah.
I don't.
Oh.
I got
Yeah,
a
I
lot
guess
of
if
free
I didn't
time.
have that, I guess if I
You
didn't
know
have
what I
that, I'd
mean?
probably have more time. Yeah.
Yeah. So my lady works she works, you know, a full-time job, but her schedule is every other weekend. So I
Mm,
have 2 full days where I don't have to, I could just focus on this, or, you know, and right now I'm getting up at like 3:30 in the morning and making all these stupid posts, scheduling all these posts every, you know, because I gotta like keep it out there for this whole month, you know,
mhm.
posting story art, ads, and pinup art, just like trying to drive enthusiasm. You know, we're dropping mixtapes and we're like doing art contests and just really trying to get people involved. And you know, it's fun. It's a lot of work, but it's fun, you know, at the same time. But you're right, it does, it's a huge time suck. Usually I read a lot of comics and I haven't been reading shit lately, you know. It's just
Mhm.
like there's not enough time.
Where do you get the idea for like mixtapes, art contests, like you're saying? Like where does that come into play? Because I don't think I've seen that. Well, I think I've seen a couple. Like I think Shelly Bond posted a couple like Spotify playlists, but where did your idea for like mixtapes and all that stuff come from?
So I would make these starting back in like 2000. I mean, I've always been interested in music and playing, you know, making mixtapes growing up as a kid.
Mhm.
But there was Ninja Tune Records had like a radio show or a podcast or whatever you call it. You know, it was a radio show. It turned into a podcast, where it was a 2-hour show broken up into 30-minute segments where they would have their DJs make a 30-minute mix, and then they would solicit other DJs, friends of theirs or whatever, send in 30 minutes. And the format was basically any style, you know, hip hop, dub, reggae, funk, soul, crazy, weird rock shit. And it was all matched together with like spoken word samples. So I
Mhm.
got very into that for a long time doing that. I have a whole website with like 40 mixtapes you can download. Um, and I've just, so I wanted to do one for the campaign, and then I talked to some other people I knew, and we did 3 mixtapes for the first book. And then this time there was like more interest, and I reached out, and just about everybody I reached out to said yes. So I was like, okay, well, let's all, you know, so we have 6 of them dropping this time. And it's like, you know, a couple of them are kind of famous guys, you know, DJ Food, he did a whole mix of religious rock, like
Okay.
weirdo 70s religious rock stuff. And that guy, Jeff Robertson, I was talking about, he made one with like this crazy Jesus Christ hip hop song from like, sounds like the 80s and stuff I'd never heard. It's just like, it's all kind of themed about spiritual or satanic or in, you know, I collected all these spoken word samples I let everybody use, like, so we overlay it and dub it and stuff. And it's you know, it's fun. Hopefully people, you know, enjoy it. You know, we don't charge anything, of course, not our
Mhm.
music. We don't have the right to charge for it. So we just release it, we time release it through the 30 days. So
Awesome.
I think Buster Moody's doing one, so we're gonna get out this week. So it's been fun. The cover artist, Carlos Echeverry, he did one. It's yeah, and that and the art contest, I kind of I stole that from Ben Mara, did a art contest for one of his books. I was like, what the idea is fan art submissions, and then we'll take all of them at the end of the month, look at them, and we'll print our 2 favorites in the book, and the
Oh,
rest of
very
them
cool.
that aren't printed will go into the digital edition. You know, so everybody's work will be anybody who submits stuff, their work will be seen in one form or another. You know,
Yeah, that's
which
very
is
cool.
cool because in the Instagram community that I've kind of fallen into, you know, I only use it for comics.
Yeah, I think
So
that's all mine is as well.
yeah, so we're getting a nice, you know, art contest going, and I don't know, we just do anything to try to get enthusiasm and at the same time build the project, you know.
Yeah, I think that you're very good at promoting and not in a way that feels like it's annoying. You know, I don't ever feel annoyed. I think you're also very creative with the way with your ads. You
Well,
know, they
that's the
always
thing.
catch my eye, you know?
So if I'm gonna post story art's one thing because it's always different and it's showing what is in the book, but those kind of meme type ads, it's like I can't post that I can't post straight up advertising twice a day. So we do like the celebrities reading a book, or weird photos, photoshopped images, and then just put our logo on it and just send it out there. So I hope, I do feel like I'm spamming all these groups and stuff, but my idea was to keep it different enough every day that, like you said, like you'll still look at it and not be like, this fucking guy.
No, I mean, also, like, yeah, I think, like, I don't know, for me, the way I perceive it is when somebody like yourself or any of the guys in the group are promoting their stuff, they're only doing it for that month. Like, it's not like it's an everyday thing all year long. It's like, I get it. Like, you guys are trying to get your stuff out there. How else are you supposed to?
Right.
So I don't ever feel, I don't think I've ever been like, man, this fucking guy, dude, when is he going to stop, with anybody? So I'm just super, super stoked to get the book. I think it looks awesome just from what I glanced at.
It was fun to look at the as the pledges come in. Have you ever run a Kickstarter or looked at one? And they have a backer report where it shows names of who pledged and how much and what they want and stuff. And it's just like CKRS member here, another one here, another one. I saw you right towards the beginning was what, I was like, oh, all these guys are from the group. Super supportive group. I forget who said it. I think I was talking to Dan Moeller about this. Like, if all the creators in our kind of closed bubble supported one another, we could all get our books made,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because there's so many of us in the group, and like, we the bad get weeded out, the ones that want to,
they really do
want to spread hate or whatever the fuck, just talk shit and the toxicity, like I was.
But even I'm sure it is stressful, but maybe I'm totally disconnected, but it feels like, and we've talked about this last time, and you've talked to about other people. Generally, the group is there for pro comics, like building each other up. Hardly ever do you see people, and maybe that's great moderation, or maybe it's just good people. I don't know.
I think it's both. I think it's both, because I hate, I'm not trying to say like there's a bunch of fucking shit talkers in the group that have been kicked out, but I do know that one time, I think it was like a year and a half ago or something, I posted a video about speculation. Maybe I think that's what I did, or maybe it wasn't that video. It was a video. Anyways, Eli ended up messaging me. He's like, I had to shut it down. I had to shut it down because the comments were just too much. I was like, I didn't mean to like stir a pot, I'm like, go for it. I'll delete it if you want. Like, it's not even that big of a deal.
Right.
But
I got on my high horse one time and was like, there was an article on Bleeding Cool about creators that didn't come through on their Kickstarters, and I posted a link.
Oh, and I saw that article.
And then I shouted out a few that never came through that I backed. I was like, how about you guys? And then people started piling in, and then I was like, also, Eli, if you want to just shut this down, please just go ahead, because I didn't mean to, like.
Yeah, you must have been getting notifications of the yeah.
So, but on the other hand, just last night, do you know Sam? It's TSO. It's like Sahonis. Sam Sahonis.
I know the name. Yeah.
Okay, so he reached out. He did a Kickstarter for his book Philip K. And it's like, I haven't gotten the book yet, but it looks like it's very kind of occultish, sort of spiritual type stuff. And he reached out to me last night and was like, I got some extra pages that I'm just giving away for advertisement. If you want to send me a full page ad for your book, go ahead. So this morning, before I was talking to you, I'm like trying to Photoshop up an ad from some guy that I only know from the community he's going to give me a full page ad in his book for nothing. It's like, dope. It's very cool.
Yeah, I think that just the way that it's just such an awesome community. I've said this so many times, and I probably will just continue to say it every time I talk to somebody else from the group. But it's the friendships that I've built through the group. I may not talk to everybody all the time. I may not post a lot unless I'm just sharing a link to a video. But it's the best community that I've ever kind of been a part of, and for the most part, it is, let's say 90, 90, also go 90% positive, you know, like, because
Right.
sometimes you'll see people bash like certain creators like that they don't like, or maybe not bash, but just like kind of talk a little shit. I'm like, well, that's your opinion, you know, like
Right.
not everybody is for everybody, you know.
I don't jump in. I don't jump in on most of that kind of stuff.
Neither do
you know?
I see
You
it, I'm
know?
like, I don't need to, because I know myself. And if I say something and somebody claps back at me, I won't not clap back. That's just in
Right.
my nature. I will
Sure.
always fucking respond. Like, I think that's why Craig and I get we're very similar in that respect. Sometimes he tells me like he has to cut himself off, you know, like
Yeah.
I can't respond.
So I saw him on who had him on just recently. It must have been Dan Moeller must have had those guys on. No, it was you. It was your show. It was the one the other day. And
Yeah.
you know, and totally got the vibe that he takes no shit, you know.
No shit,
So
dude. No shit. I even had to edit myself out. I brought up a situation that happened at the restaurant, and I was like, why did I even like talk about this? And I just deleted it out, you know, because like, especially if I'm like spotlighting somebody else, it's not about me, you know, like
right.
it's about them. So like I was just responding to something he said, and sometimes that's the great thing that I love about editing is I can cut stuff out that doesn't have to do with anything. It's like it's just because we're having a conversation, things
Right.
just go a
Right.
certain way.
Well, before we started, I had talked to you, and I'm just going to say this publicly that like I feel like the group might kind of consider you like our podcaster, you know, our YouTube show. Like I just wanted to be publicly acknowledged that we appreciate like what you're
Well, thank
doing,
you.
and you know, if you got to take a break, you got to take a break. But we'd love, you know, I love to see your interviews and stuff, and you're definitely a valuable asset to that community.
I really appreciate that. It does mean a lot, you know, like not that I feel like I don't get like I'm not appreciated, like because that's not why I do it. I don't do it because I want
Sure.
accolades or you know,
No.
but it does, it's nice to hear that. It's nice to get feedback because I don't necessarily
Sure.
always,
And you know, we don't always do the things we do for accolades or whatever, but also it's nice to know that you're not just wasting your time and the shit's just going into the void, you know, like I say. So
yeah.
anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there, and you
Well,
can
thank
edit
you.
it out if you want, but
No, I'll leave
I've
that in
said
there. Why not?
it.
I'll leave that in there.
Right on.
Well, before we kind of wrap it up, like I know you said you've done a couple of these podcasts, so I was wondering if there's anything that you haven't already talked about that you kind of want to maybe shout out, you know, before we wrap things up.
No, not really. I just want to, you know, drive anybody that has any interest, at least go watch our Kickstarter video. I think you'll get a good laugh out of it, if nothing else. If you're not easily offended, and the video actually starts off like with like a 2 or 3 second screen that says, "If you're easily offended, don't even bother," you know. But the music is by Tony Farrow's band. He had
Nice.
posted like a TikTok or reblogged a TikTok video on Facebook of his band. And I was like, what is that song? I love it. He goes, oh, we haven't recorded it yet. I go, well, if you ever do, that's the kind of vibe I'm looking for this video. And then as it got down to crunch time, I was like, have you guys recorded that song? He's like, actually, we did. I'm going to master it like this weekend. I'm like, send over an instrumental. I want to use it. So we have
That's
his
awesome,
band,
dude. That's awesome.
Mazinga. Mazinga is the name of the band. And we use them as kind of the bed of the music video and stuff. So
It's very cool.
yeah, go check out the Kickstarter page, go check out the video, take a look at the artwork. I've generally heard only positive things about the first book, you know. So I mean, if people like the first book, I think you're gonna, you know, like the second. We don't have James back except for these 4 pages, but we have, you know, 32 other great artists. So
Yeah,
come on.
it's fucking dope. The first book was dope. I know you had extra copies. Did you stop sales on those until this
Yeah, so
Kickstarter's done?
I have like a right next to me, I have like 200, just over 200 copies left out of 1,000 we printed. And I kind of allocated them to bundles and add-ons for the Kickstarter. And if there's any left after that, which it looks like there probably will be, I'll put those back on my Etsy store to, you know, and then which will make eventually a problem where I don't have any volume 1s left and I'll have to reprint them. And that's like a whole nother can of worms, you know. Where do you get the money for a reprint?
Yeah. Well, like I said, dude, I've been saying it the entire time we've been talking. It's super dope what you've been doing with the, the second book. The first book was awesome. I love all the talent attached to it. Those pinups, do not gloss over them. I looked at each single one the first time I got the book. I'm going to do it with the second book. So thank you for asking me to help kind of like promote the Kickstarter. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure talking to you, dude. And for everybody listening and watching, I'm going to drop the links to the Kickstarter. Matt, I'll drop all your social media links too. And make sure you get out there, back the book. October 3rd is the final day, right?
Yeah, Monday the 3rd at noontime, Eastern time. So
okay, so that's 9 in the morning for the Pacific Coast guys. But yeah, make sure you don't wait till the last minute, because I think I have done it multiple times where I'm like, oh, I got time, and then I end up forgetting.
Don't wait till the last minute, because my hair is more gray. I'm super stressed. It's like, if I don't get this money, like, how is this book gonna happen? It's like a whole. So I feel pretty confident. We're almost we're at like 85% or something right now. So I feel like, because at the end there's like always a lot of last minute stuff. But like, don't feel like you have to wait to the last minute. Like you say, people forget. It's like, oh shit, I'll just buy it when it comes out. Like, there's no guarantee this book's gonna come out without that money.
That's right.
Like,
that's right.
Because I got the price I got for the printing is like, I don't have that money.
Yeah. So go out there, support indie creators. And some of the names that we did talk about, I also have some chats with those guys as well. Check out my indie creator spotlights, guys. And I'm going to continue to do these. Matt, thank you again for your time. And everybody, on that note, we're out.